How many of you guys here have watched the Grammys? Well, I don't watch these things live, but I am kind of interested, especially since there were multiple Korean music or K-pop that was listed this year. And I don't know if you've already seen the results, but a lot of them were nominated, but the only thing that really won was Golden by K-pop Demon Hunters in the film section, I believe. So for today, I wanted to talk about, did Korea-related music, I'm saying this a little broadly because I think that's the best term to describe, did Korea or Asia-related music get discriminated at Grammys? I know that sounds a little bit sensitive to start with, but I actually did a little bit of research on this and I want to share you guys how I think about this. So let me ask you guys that question. How do you guys feel about Grammys? It doesn't necessarily have to be just this Grammys, just Grammys in general, Grammys lately. As a musician myself, I personally think there's a lot of ironic parts in Grammys. So I see a lot of you guys are saying it's rigged, it's unfair. This might disappoint you just a little bit, but I personally think songs like 아파트, sang by Bruno Mars and Rosé, songs like Gabriella by Cat's Eye, songs like Golden by K-pop Demon Hunters, these songs not winning, I think it's actually totally fair. And I'll explain why. I'll explain why it's totally fair. So first of all, do you guys think Grammys is a representation of international music, global music scene? A lot of people are saying no, but here's the thing, is that not just Grammys, but a lot of these American awards, they take a stance where they kind of make it a little bit vague and they kind of treat themselves as if they are the world's most center and important award. Do you guys agree? They act like, oh, like the Oscar, the Grammys, like, you know, these are the best award in the world. And here's the thing, this video or this talk is not about dissing America. I just want to just simply clarify. So I did a little bit of research because first of all, we have to know what they claim themselves as. They actually don't specifically claim themselves as a global award. So first of all, number one, they don't say we're global award. And number two, I thought this was kind of funny. You guys know how in Grammys, there's a global section? Where they show international music? What does that mean? The fact that there's a global section means the other section is non-global, meaning it's domestic. So even though they kind of sort of behave in the way it's international, in reality, it's just America's Domestic Music Award. If anything, maybe including Canada. And here's the thing. Where do you guys think the center of the world is? At least in the music scene. I personally think it is America. America is still the center of global music. That's why American music, have you guys ever heard the term A-pop? Like American pop? No, you just call American pop music. Because why? Because America is still the center. But that has been like that for the past almost 100 years, I would say. The only change is that previously, maybe like 50 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, that was absolutely true. America was so far like absolutely leading number one. The only change has been that America's music influence in the global market has been going down lower and lower. So think about this way. Imagine Michael Jackson's influence on global music compared to, who's the most famous artist right now? Well, Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish's impact on global music. Billie Eilish is still American pop star who is a global pop star, right? But do you guys see how the American number ones have been getting less influence on globally? And the reason is not just because America's music is falling off, it's because other global music has been rising up, such as, you know, Hispanic music, Asian music. There has been a lot of other upcomers. So that's why it feels like, oh, it's starting to get a little bit more unfair. Because previously, if they just give the best American music the award, they were really the globally best musicians. But now, there's this irony where either the Hispanic music scene or the Asian music scene is bigger than that of America, where people start to think that's way more popular and everyone likes that. Why are we giving the award to this person? Do you guys see where it's coming from? Like now we're really getting the sensation that like, wow, it's really domestic. Wow, this is no longer global. So from the start, they were never global, but just because America had been such a huge influence in the music world, it looked like it was global. Same thing with the film scene. Okay, so this is not even the whole Korean music talk. You know how I felt about Billie Eilish winning this year? I don't know if anyone else agree. Why do I always feel like Grammys or even Oscars give awards like year or two or several years after that they actually deserved? I personally think Billie Eilish should have won last year. I'm not saying she didn't deserve it this year, but It always feels like when they really deserve it, they don't get it. And then they get it several years later. Even with Oscars, there's movies that are so iconic, but these actors, they don't win it for that movie. They win it several, like 10 years later for some less impactful work. So you know what I always feel like? It feels like a procrastination of award, where each year they go like, we know like Billie did really good this year, but we gotta acknowledge Beyonce, right? And then they give it, and then they're like, we didn't get to give it to Billie last year, so we gotta give it to Billie this year, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it keeps going in like that direction. So this is just like a silly prediction. I feel like one of the things that might happen is in Grammys, there might be a situation where K-pop songs start to win the Grammys a lot, but that might be after we get one of the most impactful K-pop songs. Imagine how you would feel if BTS never wins Grammys, and then who's like a new upcoming group? All Day Project wins Grammys? I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying usually what happens is they win a little bit later. So I feel like these fancy awards, they're not going to be given to the actual pioneers and the explorers of the K-pop or Korean music. It's going to be given to those who comes later, which is fine. I think that's just sometimes how the things work. But going back to the numbers, I believe Wicked won the duo/group award. It's the one with Ariana Grande, the song from Wicked. Here's the thing. Another thing is Grammy doesn't give awards based on popularity. But at the same time, how could you talk about pop music without completely acknowledging popularity? So I think it's unfair to say popularity has nothing to do with it. So I simply compared Cat's Eyes Gabriella with Bruno Mars and Rosé alongside with the song from Wicked. Do you guys know how big the difference is? The streaming number when you compare on Spotify, 아파트, from what I've seen, is at least 20 times more streams. Like 30 times? So I think the Wicked song has 77 million and 아파트 had literally different digit. Same thing with Gabriella. So in terms of popularity, guys, it's not even a debate. The American music scene is not even a debate anymore, guys. The songs like Luther, the songs like other like Billie Eilish songs, you have to combine the entire Billie Eilish album stream in order for it to surpass one song, 아파트 by Rosé and Bruno Mars. So you already get it, right? It's not a matter of which one had more streams, which one was more globally impactful. Because I personally believe if we're simply going with global popularity, it should have been a battle between Bad Bunny and 아파트 and maybe Golden. And here's the thing, no one really talks about it, but Indian music, this is like totally different, or other culture music, even though they have insane global popularity and number-wise, stream-wise, they're not even nominated. They're not even talked about. So that also we have to be aware. It's not just Korean music. So at the end of the day, I think Bad Bunny won the Artist of the Year, Record of the Year. He won several things, which, you know how I feel about that? Is that the Hispanic music has been bigger than American music for the past several years. Bad Bunny is American, but I still think his music is Hispanic music. Like ethnic, like cultural background of the music. And I feel like they're finally getting the recognition in America. Oh, he won the Album of the Year? Yeah, Latin music, sorry, that's the better term for it. Latin music has been such a huge scene in the global music scene, but now they're finally getting the acknowledgement because I think one of the reasons is because not only the music is good, but also because America as a country is being a little bit more accepting towards Latinos. I think that's one of the effects. It wouldn't have happened in 90s. Doesn't matter how popular Bad Bunny was. Anyway, I think that's a good thing. Going back to the... Oh, another musician I want to talk about is Leibei won the Grammys again. I enjoy her music a lot. Her album was also great. I forgot the album title. The Time something? It's the one where she's lying on the clock. You guys might have seen it. You know how I feel about Leibei winning? Is I feel like she was able to find a niche market and make it alive. So I'm not trying to put her down. That's not what I'm trying to do. But instead, if it hadn't been for Leibei, a lot of people in our generation and my age wouldn't have really cared about jazz music or folk music. You know, you get the idea. But I think she is sort of like the rising star in that genre. And I'm also glad she is actually winning awards. She kind of made the genre more popular. in our generation. So it sounds easy to do. Like, oh, find a niche market. Niche market is niche for a reason. Because it's impossible, it's very impossible to make someone listen to songs that they don't listen to previously. Like, you're trying to make people who grew up with One Direction go from that to jazz? That's very, very difficult. That's very extremely difficult. People don't change their music taste. That's why I think people like Leve or the people like BTS, who opened up the door for K-pop. Because I don't know if you guys ever remember when you first listened to K-pop. For me, I grew up with K-pop because I was born in Korea. I think the openers, they do amazing, amazing work. They're actually revolutionary, I should say. So a lot of points to that. Going back to Grammys not giving awards to Asian musicians, I kind of feel like, do you guys know MMA? Or I think they previously used to call it MAMA, the Mnet Music Award. It's kind of like the same thing, where even though there's a lot of great musicians, such as, Japanese musician, American musician, you know how MMA is Korean Music Award. You guys all agree? Grammys is the same thing. No one gets upset when Justin Bieber doesn't win the MMA. No one gets upset about that. Same thing. I don't think any Korean related music fans should get upset that Apate straight up won. This is not even our house. We're demanding an award in different country. So I think the fact that they even acknowledge is thank you for acknowledging. So if you're a Korean music lover, if you're Asian music lover, you just have to focus on MMA. That's the award that we find more important or you should be more upset about. Yeah. Grammys, I kind of feel like it's more fun. And also, I heard that Rosé was the first one to perform at the Grammys Award. I saw the Rosé performance and the Cat's Eye performance. Have you guys seen the performances? The performances were great. I also saw Justin Bieber performance. Who else? Addison Rae. There were a lot of them. I don't want to get hate for this, but you guys know I'm not the biggest Cat's Eye fan, right? I'm really not. And I'll talk about the reason why in the future. But I saw their performance. The performance was actually very impressive. It was very powerful. It was very stage dominating. So even as a non-fan, I thought, that's a very good performance. You're gonna get hate for this? No, it's I'm saying as a non-fan, it was still great. And lastly, guys, I always wanted to say this when it comes to Grammys or when it comes to Oscars. I know there's also the sensitive line of Asian Americans where they wouldn't know where to be represented, whether in Asia or in America. And I know there are sort of that people who are fighting for Asian representation. And obviously, I'm not going against any of that. But I just wanted to, especially maybe because I'm Korean and I was born in Korea, I feel like Korean artists, Asian artists don't have to fight for awards or representation in these American Music Awards anymore. I don't know if you guys also felt the same way. I never liked from the start where these K-pop artists were sort of fighting for recognition in American-dominated award shows, like Billboard charts or Oscar, Grammys. You guys get what I'm talking about? Is that, why do we really need their awards? Why? I don't really feel that strong need anymore. So it's a great thing that if these groups and music win, but I also feel like we're past that stage and we don't really need approval, especially from different countries. Because if you look at it, do American musicians look for approval in Asia? No, not really. I think it should be the same way around. So also, if you feel like such as African music, Latin music, or, South Asia music or Southeast Asia, you shouldn't feel upset that your music doesn't get represented here. I feel like it's fine. It's fine. That's why the only people who might feel a little left out in this story would be Asian Americans who were born here. And I think that's a whole different story. But anyway, so I just thought it was interesting. I'm glad that K-pop Demon Hunters won the award. Very nice. Yeah. That was my thought about Grammys this year. I wonder who's gonna win next year. You know how BTS is making a comeback at March? I feel like, if anything, this might have the highest chance of winning these American awards. Because now, anyone would agree BTS influence, you can't deny. You could try to deny these smaller K-pop groups, but no one could actually deny BTS anymore. So even if this comeback isn't good, they might give a bunch of awards just for late recognition. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? they haven't even made the comeback. Even if this album is not as great as their previous albums, like Wings album, they might get more awards. Just like how I talked about earlier with the delayed award thing. And if they do win, I would love it. I'll just be happy. F these American awards, they always use these K-pop artists for views. Oh my god, guys, I always got that feeling and I really didn't like it. You know what I really didn't like? I know I might be also speaking a little bit more sensitively. I don't like this sensation where they kind of use K-pop so obviously explicitly. Like, they don't care. They don't give anything about K-pop, but they just put them up and be like, that's the Asian boys, right? Yeah, that's the K-pop boys, right? Like, they don't actually care. Like, obviously there are people who do love and care, but I don't like that sensation where they're like, they're represented, so we're good to go with that quota. We don't have to like worry about getting accused of not representing. Like, I don't like that sensation. Instead of just kind of viewing music as music, I don't like this, not even as Asia, I'm talking about other ethnicity too, where instead of actually portraying, it just kind of feels like, since we have one yellow one and the one black one and the one, like, then we're good to go. Like, I don't like the sensation, obviously, I don't know, maybe guys, maybe I'm speaking really immaturely. I really do speak very immature, but it's the nuance. I'm not talking about like the detail, it's just the nuance. And at the end of the day, actually, Katie, you said the very correct thing. It's all about bottom line money. You know why I think these award shows and all of these are changing? At the end of the day, it comes down to money. They know that you need to put these K-pop artists if you want to get views. They know that you have to represent if you want to make the money. It's not because they turned into a good person. It's just they realize that's where the money is. If you can't convince the people, you can't get the people's money. So now I'm speaking really incorrectly. I'm really afraid to say this stuff now. Hopefully I don't get canceled for this. This is actually such a controversial stuff, but I always wanted to say this. You know how different ethnicity fight for their rights in America? Not just in America, but in the world. You know what I think? I think if you want to be, I'm speaking for Korean and other Asian American, I think if you want to be represented and treated correctly, best thing you could do in this dirty world is to win by money. Because at the end of the day, whatever haters out there, they all at the end of the day give into money and numbers. So I'm personally proud that these Korean musicians, they make banks and they're swiping the money, because now that basically close their mouth, the other haters' mouth. So even though we don't like this world where money rules everything, I like it now that we're winning. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I think that just seems like how it is. Which is ironic because all these awards keep saying that we're basing this based on artisticness, but I don't really know if I ever felt that over the years. Because art is such a subjective area. That's probably why I also don't feel like that. Anyway, guys, I said a lot of immature things today. I hope none of the intentions are distorted. I might cancel some of my statements as I get older. I don't usually speak this strongly about, I don't want to get in trouble, guys. But still, thank you for listening. No, you guys are all saying we agree, but if there's people who agree, there's people who totally disagree. So usually voicing an opinion is a very risky thing to do. It's fine because I'm kind of a nobody, so it's not like I have like people hating on me, but it's always, you still have to be careful. Not even as a YouTuber, but even in daily conversation. There's a lot of people, you know how it's not a good thing to talk about these in front of your coworkers or stuff like that. You don't know who's gonna start hating on you for whatever random reason it is. So yeah. And sometimes your own statements end up attacking you back. Like imagine I talk about fairness and representation and later I discriminate. Then they'll be like, you said this and now you're doing this. I'm not a good person. I probably will do something like that. So yeah. I don't want to act like I'm the most just person in the world. I'm really not. I'm not that just. I'm very biased. Yeah. Seems like something you would do. It really does seem like something I would do. Say something and then act differently. You literally have the worst double standard in the game. We're not human if we don't have double standards. I really try to not. Yo, please don't get canceled. I'll try.